Okay, now we're going to finish the video and finish this problem. And the next thing it asks us to calculate is the variable overhead rate and efficiency variances. So we have variable overhead, and I'm going to use these formulas, even though the numbers are a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and clear out my numbers. I'm not going to make the same mistake I did before. I'm going to clear those out as well. Okay, and so we're using machine hours on this, and so when we do the overhead, it's a little bit different because we don't actually multiply anything here. We're given our total variable manufacturing overhead was $18,290. And if you remember, the way we do overhead, we use a predetermined overhead rate, and our predetermined overhead rate, they tell us, is $3 per machine hour. And so we want to come over here and figure out what our actual machine hours were, and it tells us that it was 5,900. That's given to us. And then we want to do our standard machine hours based on our actual production. So it would be our 15,000 pulls times, we were expecting to have 0.4 hours. I guess I should put equals there. 15,000 times 0.4 hours, or 6,000. So over here we have a variance of $590, the difference between this number and this number. And over here we have a variance of 300. So then we were like, okay, is this favorable or unfavorable? And we see that our variable overhead, our actual, so I'm just going to call this actual variable overhead, is $18,290. We budgeted it to be $17,700. So this is an unfavorable variance. And then our standard, we thought we would use 6,000 machine hours, but we only used 5,900, so this is actually a favorable variance. Okay, so then it asks us in part 2 to summarize all of these variances. So by themselves, they tell us a little bit, and we can start analyzing them and trying to determine, why did we have an unfavorable variance here? Why do we have a favorable variance here? Did this one cause that one? Did this one down here cause that one? And so we start analyzing that. But when we do a summary of the variances, what we get is an overall favorable or unfavorable. And what that's going to do is show us the impact to our budgeted financials. So we have 3,000 favorable. We have 8,400 unfavorable. We have 11,800 unfavorable. We have 1,200 favorable. I'm having trouble with this one. Okay, and then we have 590 unfavorable. And we have 300 favorable. So we're going to net all of these. You don't add them up, you net them. And so it doesn't matter how you do it. You can use the favorables as positives and the unfavorables as negatives, but you're going to net all of that. And what we're going to come up with is an unfavorable variance of $16,290. Now, what does that tell us? That tells us that based on our budget, we overspent $16,290. What impact did that have on our income statement? Well, we had a budgeted cost of goods sold. And the budgeted cost of goods sold, you can look at it in the book, but it was $180,000. Our actual, or our variance was $16,290, and it was unfavorable. So our actual cost of goods sold was $196,290. That's our actual cost of goods sold. So same thing over here, our budgeted operating income given to us as $36,000, but we had a variance of 16,290. So our actual operating income was $19,710. So we were under budget by $16,290. And then it asks us to pick out the two most significant variances that you computed in requirement 1 and explain possible causes. So we're going to look up here at the ones that are more significant than others. There's one and there's one. So what caused this? Well, this was a quantity variance. So what this tells me is I used more pounds per unit than I expected to. It could have been that the material wasn't as good. Could have been that you had people working who weren't following engineering guidelines. There's lots of different reasons. And then down here we see we budgeted $6 per hour and it was $7. There could have been an increase in a minimum wage. There could have been a shortage of workers. We maybe didn't have as much turnover and we gave cost of living raises. There's lots of different reasons for that. But again, the idea is that you're going through here and you're trying to figure out what happened and you're trying to get your budget as close as you can to what it's actually going to be. And when you have variances, you're going to analyze those and figure out why.